This episode of BRB UK is brought to you by our own merch store at tpublic.com/store/BRB and also Tabletop Tuesday at Loadingstoke, Newington.
BRB UK. Worse teeth, better accents.
Hello, and indeed, ahoy, hoy, and welcome to episode BRB UK 496. I think letters are a number, and I've clearly had far too much outside sunshine fun time. Oh, it's too hot. Don't like it. Making me a grumpy, sweaty old man.
Just 496, please, Dan. Just
496. Not 496, 496. Give it the gravitas it deserves. It is not just a juxtaposition of numbers 4, 9, and 6. It is 496. Thank you very much. That's Good. Tim over there. Say hello, Tim, over there.
Hello, Tim.
How you doing?
Yeah, all right. Apart from
Tim, it really helps if you put your face in front of the microphone when you speak.
If I don't, my mobile's definitely going to ring mid-show, and that'll be worse.
All right, okie dokie. So, you may have noticed the elephant in the room. We are without Coleman. I've been given control. Well, I know I have been given control of the soundboard, and I'm resisting with every fibre of my being, just deleting all of it and just replacing everything with Carlman is a doo-doo head or something like that. You know, I'm 42. I have highbrow humour. All right, live with it.
Is there any Coleman noises you can get revenge with? Like, because he always, substitutes you.
Coleman actually doesn't. He
doesn't do it to himself, does he? Hey?
He doesn't do it to himself.
No.
I mean, arguably, Coleman is his own Coleman soundboard. So, I mean, I've got a toilet flush. There we go.
Okay.
What else we got?
I didn't hear that, but anyway.
You didn't hear that?
No.
What else we got? We've got a PlayStation voice.
PlayStation.
We've got PlayStation sound. And a ka-ching. There we go, lovely. Ooh,
okay.
Grabthar's hammer.
By Grabthar's hammer.
This is why.
What a savings.
Yeah, there we go. So I'm now slowly channeling my inner Coleman. This is not a good thing. So poor old Coleman, he has been laid low by the Rona. He is fine. We can confirm he's doing okay, but he's not in a podcast ready mode this evening. So send him your best fluffy wishes. What we asked for.
Get well soon, Mr. Coleman.
Get well soon. Yeah. Stupid viruses. They're like, I'm sure I've said this before. They're like viruses. The wasps of the life form world. Well, wasps are the wasps of the life form world. You know what I mean? In the microbial world, they're like wasps. There's no discernible point to them as far as I can work out. So yes, there we go. But have you managed to? You're continuing to avoid the Rona, I take it, Tim?
Yeah, I don't know if we discussed it on the show, but I'm pretty sure I had it fairly early on, and I might have had it once since, but it was at times
bloody
where,
hipster.
Like, I've tested with. I had it before tests were available, so I couldn't definitely qualify that. And then when I did have it, it was Christmas. Well, and I thought I might have had it because I had a bit of a cold. I tested either side of when I needed to go out because it was over Christmas generally anyway, and I was fine either side of it, but whether I missed testing it in the middle because I did it like 7 days apart. So I might have had it again. I might have just had a cold, but I've definitely had it once, I think. But yeah, otherwise avoided recently, fortunately.
Stupid viruses is what I say.
Viruses.
Curse you. Curse you.
Arguably, Dan,
viruses and your...
It's their planet and we just get in the way. We're just their hosts.
Well, to be fair, yeah. I mean, that's the story of many a video game. Humans messed it all up. Cue Horizon, cue Destiny, cue just about anything with a post-apocalyptic doodad. I do like a post-apocalyptic doodad, I have to say. Division, yes. All like that, yeah, I'm surprised that's done as well as it has online these days. I must say, the original Division, I slightly scaled back for. I was like, yeah, that's a little too close to real life. But anyway.
A little too on the nose.
Current video games, Tim. We ought to talk about current video games because we are going to try and do a shortish show this week.
Yes.
For just to make things worse. I mean, we are slightly diversifying in our Horsemen of the Apocalypse in the UK this week.
Mm-hmm.
We have now got the fifth Horseman of the Apocalypse is the Rail and Maritime Transport Union, and is slightly getting in the way of my missus getting back home. So I need to disappear and jump in the car, get home. So we're going to do a short show is what we're going to do. I say that, but Tim's involved. So
you never
Tim,
know.
you're going to go first. Might happen. So Tim, you're going to go first, and we're going to talk about games first. Then we're going to talk about news second.
It's good for a video game show.
Games first. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Shredder's Revenge. I have played a little bit of it, but I think you sunk your teeth into this glistening pizza-tastic thing much more than I have. Don't know where I was going with that. Mozzarella.
I have played through the story mode twice. Once with Raphael. He's red. It's on brand.
Right.
But also, he was my turtle back in the day. Who was your turtle, Dan? Who was your go-to turtle?
My turtle back in the day was on the original arcade.
What generally? Who was your turtle? I don't care about
it was probably Donatello.
Format. Donatello. Huh? Good answer.
Donatello.
I respect it.
But
he's the tech dude. That makes sense for you.
I did not massively enjoy playing as Donatello on this incarnation TMNT. He makes some slightly annoying noises.
Yeah, I played a few levels as him. I gave the arcade a quick blast at a time when I knew I wouldn't have time to play it through, but I just wanted to try him out. And yeah, he's got a long reach, but I didn't find a lot of his other moves as good. But to come back to the overall point, and
yes,
also listeners, tell us, or viewers, tell us who your turtle was as well. I want to find out general synopsis. Let's find out who, and rough age.
Although confusingly, your turtle in this incarnation of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles might not be a turtle. Because
I mean, that's entirely possible in this one.
So the thing that is quite nice about this particular incarnation of, the oft-trodden trope of a side-scrolling Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade-esque kick all the things up, is you can now play as either April O'Neil or Splinter, which is quite nice, I thought.
And once you've played through the game once, and the second character that I played my way through, you can unlock Casey Jones as well. So if you play through the story mode once, you unlock Casey Jones. So there are 7 characters available to play from, all in total. And Casey Jones seems very good as well. He seems to have an extra star compared to everyone else's ratings. But yeah, for anyone that doesn't know, this is very much a direct, definite, and being deliberately so, a spiritual successor to the old scrolling beat-em-up turtle games on the arcade, or the SNES and the NES, I think it was. But yeah, and it is a
Turtles in Time. That was a great game.
Yeah, that was a great game. And it's a very good homage to that. They've taken all the kind of, distilled all the main points of that, retained that, and then added a few extra tweaks and a bit more in terms of the move set, and you've got a dodge and stuff like that. Gives a slightly more tactical element to the game. You've got like specials that you can use as well, and taunts that you can boost your special meter to just by kind of successfully taunting. And yeah, there's a few other different levels to the combat. One of the things I thought was a very welcome addition to this game as well, that was slightly different to the old ones, is that each character that I've played as so far, at least, and I think I've played all 4 Turtles and Casey Jones at the moment, they all play very differently. Even the 4 Turtles, you would expect to be a bit more similar. They do have variations to like some of their jumping kicks, and even just the frames and parameters in which their move operates and how hard it is and how fast it is. Like, is all slightly different, and does make playing the game feel different with each of the characters as well.
Yeah, because I mean, I've only dabbled. I have to say, I've only cleared first stage, so I've only just whooped Bebop upside the head. I do believe that's what the kids said in the 90s. But yeah, a bit of me does wonder how much you need to have the nostalgia for the old Turtles games to really appreciate this, because obviously it's bang up our, because Turtles was a thing when we were kids. I think both of us got really fond memories of playing the arcade, which was a hell of a lot of fun.
Yes.
And this is a really good experience like that. Really tight, really well polished kind of side-scrolling fighting mechanics. has a bit of a laugh with itself. Really kind of interesting move combos. It's far deeper in terms of the combat than you think. But if this wasn't a Turtles game, if this had some just miscellaneous random characters in it, would it be as good a game? Would it be standalone a great thing? I don't know.
I think having played through the entire game a couple of times, there are things I'd like them to do slightly differently. Like there's cameos from characters which are nice, various other characters, and I won't spoil any of them for you, but they're just things that you would know from the Turtles universe if you know that universe. So they might be lost on wider fans, but I also wish they were a bit more interactive. Like when you discovered them, they did something like just beat up another enemy or just do an on-screen attack or something that obliterates everyone, or, something that interacts with them rather than just standing there and saying hello. And then once you get playing through the game again, if you're rediscovering where they were, they don't pop up again, so you don't see them again as well. So that's kind of just feels a bit like that should have added another mechanic to the game possibly and was a place to possibly do that. But other than that, generally, I really enjoyed my time with the game. I think it stands up there with recent additions to the genre in terms of one of the first redos that a lot of people have mentioned this week is Castle Crashers. But more recently, obviously, Streets of Rage 4 was made by the same developers, and I think it stands up well alongside that game and well alongside other games that have come out and I've enjoyed in the genre in recent years. I think it's very high quality. The other thing I've done is play a game in 4-player. We only played through about 3 levels, but we did local co-op at loading, as it was. We had a quick co at the end of Tabletop Tuesday, so we all took control of a turtle. I hadn't been Michelangelo, so I went with him and played through a bit. And that is, I don't understand how it's not. Well, I think it's going to be absolutely crazy with 6 people. I haven't tried that yet. I would like to try that this week, so if we can get some listeners on that are interested in playing some multiplayer on that, that would be fun. Instant pick up and play fun for just dragging casual people into the game. But then it's also got some extra depth in terms of some of the challenges. Some of which are really hard, like get through the whole level without taking any damage and stuff like that. And some which are much easier.
And it's pretty upfront about saying, you just took damage, you suck.
Yeah.
When you fail the challenge, I was like, oh man, I thought I was having a good time. Why are you going to remind me I suck?
That's really good for knowing whether you've passed or failed the thing. It also keeps track of that. If you pause at any time, there is like how many times you've been hit in a certain way or whatever qualifier it is for the challenges in that level. As an instant play game, I think it's quite good. And then it's got that extra depth and it's got some achievements for like doing a 250 hit combo, which I've managed about half of so far, basically. It's got some like deeper challenges to get through and then playing through the story mode 7 times. The one thing I'll say there is, that I don't know, there's some levels I like more than others in terms of my ability to play through them. And there's some levels that I just, there's the levels that they've thrown in that are, again, harken back to the old arcade games. And I think the SNES game where they had the jet-powered skateboards and going down the street and zigging in and out of obstructions and while still fighting people. And those levels are okay, but I found the best way to do them is just to, like, depending on the character, but generally just to continuously jump kick. So you just spend the whole level jump kicking, which gets a bit
God
boring.
Bless 90s gameplay.
But I haven't found a better way of doing it than doing that. There is some timing and direction involved in terms of doing stuff, so it's not, like, entirely going to sleep.
That direction presumably is go to the right.
And then go to the left, and then another one sneaking up behind you. But I mean, there's still some threat in terms of that. But generally, I think the gameplay is good enough to welcome people that just want to pick up and play alongside you, but also good enough for someone that's going there. The one thing I will say is it's probably more fun in co-op than it is in single player, especially for repeat playthroughs. But when you start playing in co-op, it's got like some sort of team up moves, and we did it a couple of times, but I still didn't exactly figure out the mechanic of how we do that. But then you can also give other people health by like high-fiving them. You give them 2 bars of your health bar so you can keep them alive. And if they get knocked down, you can revive them by like going up to them, and you have to hold down the button for a bit, but it waves a slice of pizza in their face and tries to resuscitate them that way. So
nice. Fun fact, works with Tim.
Yeah, that works too. Overall, I've really enjoyed it. As I said, I've played through it a couple of times. I'm going to play through it a couple more times at least. I may at some point double dip and pick this up on the Switch as well because I've been playing it on Game Pass.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this was another good feather in the bow of Game Pass in general, just for the fact that this was day one and released on Game Pass. I'm like, okay, you're doing okay at the moment, Game Pass. So yeah.
Yeah, Game Pass is doing well. Game Pass is doing really well. Although, as we will talk about in a little bit, there's a new challenger has arrived in that respect. But we'll come to that in a little tick. But yeah, I mean, I think I can see how it'll work really well on Switch. I think it's an absolute no-brainer to pick up and have a bit of a laugh with if you are a Game Pass subscriber. If you didn't have Game Pass or something similar, I think it's about 20 quid, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think. Worth 20 quid? Or would you hold on for a bit near a tenner if you're buying it?
I would say that entirely depends on how many people you are going to play this local co-op with or online with. Because, as I said, I do think it adds an extra dimension.
So it's
especially
all about
on
the co-op
replays,
for you then.
To have co-op. It just adds a bit more to the game. One thing I would like to see them add, if they could in future update or DLC, is the ability to have another turtle come along with you so that you can practice doing the team up moves and other things can happen in this way it would with the multiplayer, just in a setting where you can play with like 2, 3 or 4 AI controlled characters as well, possibly. But
nice.
Overall,
nice.
I'm really enjoying it. If you're a Turtles fan and a fan of scrolling beat 'em ups, definitely pick it up because it's a really good version of exactly that.
Nice. Well, although it's not side scrolling, I have been enjoying a game where I think you're a reptile of some description. You're green, anyway.
Okay.
And man,
environmentally friendly,
the crap out of everything. Depends. Depends if you wronged said green kicky boy. So I've been playing the cell. I was a good boy. I stuck to my self-imposed homework that I set myself last week, and I went away and I played the Angerfoot demo because it looked hilarious. And well done, Dan. Man, that is stupid fun. This game is just stupid fun, and I mean that it's really fun, and also it's really stupid as well. This is Angerfoot. It's a game coming out later this year, published by Devolver Digital. It's a bit like, I think Coleman described it last week as it's kind of got a little bit of a Hotline Miami feel to it. So the stages you play through are fixed, certainly in the bits of the demo.
It's all fixed.
But the enemy placement, the enemy placement's always the same. Power-up placements are always the same. But the challenge is to try and find that critical path through the level where you can kill everything and get out as quickly as you can. And there are some challenges it sets you that really incentivize that. So there is a little bit of a roguelite. I'm not really sure it's properly that. But feet. Do you know what feet love? Trainers.
Shoes? Yeah.
Yes! Feet love shoes! And by doing certain tasks in the game, you unlock power-ups in the form of shoes. And these can give you extra attack, extra strength in your attack, or when you fire a gun and it hits something, that bullet gets refunded to you. So, as the name suggests, Angerfoot, that is the name of the game, that's the name of you as a trouser-hating reptile-type person. And the game is all about getting from point A to B as quickly as possible, ideally kicking stuff, sometimes shooting things if your enemies drop a gun or you find one in the environment. And it's just a really tight, well put together game. I mean, obviously this is the demo. They have I would imagine there's going to be some changes with the final game, but it's got a really satisfying feel to it. It feels when you kick something, it feels like really kind of the best way I can describe it is really crunchy, if that makes sense. It's you definitely booted them right in the face. Stuff flies away from you in a really satisfying way. The physics engine's really good. And the one thing I didn't necessarily realise from the trailers, it's got an excellent soundtrack. And the way it kind of puts that to you is that it's kind of as the action escalates, so the soundtrack does as well. So it's kind of like just at the beginning of a level, it's just kind of like a quiet in the distance, like your next door neighbours playing music too loud. You can tell I'm getting middle aged by making that comparison, where it's just like, and then when like enemies come along, it absolutely ramps up to like a proper full on bass dance track. It's really great the way that it kind of that really adds to the action. It's done in a really, really great way. Yeah, I've been really loving this game. It's very satisfying. I mean, admittedly, that is in the context of a demo, and how it plays out over the longer course of a game, I don't yet know. I mean, there's some hints of a story there already in the demo where, well, I'm not going to beat about the bush. Basically, someone's stolen your favorite pair of shoes, and that's made you really angry.
Right. Okay. I was wondering if there was a canonical reason why he hates trousers.
No, I just think he finds them burdensome, as far as I can work out. I didn't realise I didn't have trousers until there's like a story scene where you're sitting there with Mrs. Foot, presumably, all right? Sitting there with Mrs. Foot, you're watching some telly, you're having a good time, you're chilling out.
Right.
And your phone rings. And how do you answer a phone, Tim?
I mean,
with your feet is how you answer a phone. You've got a foot.
Does everything with his feet.
He does everything with his feet because reasons.
If you've got magic shoes, it makes sense, I guess.
Well, he's not wearing shoes at that point. He's going al fresco from a shoe point of view.
He's got magic feet.
And he's got little prehensile feet. Picks up his phone, answers his phone. It's very strange. But anyway, you basically are being blackmailed because an evil person has stolen your favourite pair of shoes. And yes, there we go. But I mean, beyond that, I mean, it's kind of obviously got its, like we said, the kind of Hotline Miami kind of time attack aspect to it. It does ramp up in difficulty even in the demo. It's all about learning the layout of the levels and where the enemies are going to come from. Like I said, it's not just melee range enemies. There are enemies who'll lob grenades at you, shoot you from afar, to really try and ruin your day, Tim. But, you know, as always, you've got to be aware of the environment, the environment level, so you can dodge and, you know, find a good way to kind of close the distance to those enemies. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I hope there's more surprises and more fun to come. I mean, it's not releasing until 2023, so I'm sure there's a long while, a lot of time left for them to kind of inject even more fun into it. But yeah, I've had a right laugh with it, even as a demo. And I just hope... I suppose my main concern is the demo's so fun, a bit of me thinks, well, is that kind of going to be enough for most people? Are they going to go, just go, yeah, wicked, fun, kick doors in, that was a laugh. And then I think that the only job they might have, the Angerfoot team, is kind of really demonstrating that the full game adds even more. And
can sustain that as well.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think it's the price of free for the demo on Steam. Ooh. So go and pay that amount of money for something that's free. And I apologise in advance. Actually, no, I'm not going to swear because we don't have. I'm going to say a popular 4-letter word. Okay, I'm going to call it flicker. Okay, flicker. It does like using that word rather, and it's the name of the energy drink in the game just made me laugh out loud because I'm clearly a man-child. Their energy drink is called Thirst Flicker, but not the word flick, the other word you're thinking of. What a lovely name for a drink.
Right.
What a lovely name for a drink. Does what it says on the tin. Does that to your thirst. But yeah, good fun, good game, have fun, play it, do stuff. Yes. The other demo that's in my queue, I haven't played yet, but I will because I know this is something.
You have a queue of demos?
Yeah, I do have a queue of demos. Is it Cult of the Lamb?
Yes. That's
so because I know that's a game you're interested in, so I picked up the demo for that. So I'll give have a little fiddle with that ahead of next show. So
yeah. See if you can get to grips with how the town bit worked, because I didn't see that well in my demo or cover it well when we were talking about it before. But I'm interested to see how that works out. This week's podcast is brought to you by Dan's Face. Dan's face on a t-shirt, there is, which you can acquire yourself at our merchandise store, which is tpublic.com/stores/BRB. You can get Dan's face on a t-shirt saying, eating my dust. You can get Dan's face on a mug. You can have a mug on a mug. Oh, his mug. I'm not saying he is a mug, but you can have his mug on a mug. And stickers and a variety of other things as well. This t-shirt that you might be able to see in the video version is Dan's face on grey. It is available in a variety of colours. There's a variety of other t-shirt designs available, including ones for Tabletop Tuesday events and ones for this here podcast and a few other things as well. So go and check that out. The link again is tpublic.com/stores/BRB.
So yes, so those are the games we've actually played. I do have one more game I can talk about, but we're going to see how we do for time. Because the big news this week is, of course, there is new PlayStation Plus has happened. So I merrily got a notification when I turned my PS5 on when I was having a lunch break today. Just to jog my memory. Going, hey Dan, hi mate, how are you doing? Would you like to spend more money and upgrade? Also, we've sent you an email about it. You should spend some more money and upgrade. So the new version of PS Plus is very complicated. It's more complicated than it needs to be as far as I can work out.
Well, it's got Essential that's like it is now, pretty much. What you get now is now Essential.
And costs the same.
It, apparently. And costs the same. And then there is the next tier up, which is Extra, which is about £4 more a month. And then for just less than another £4, you can get Premium.
Or, as I like to call it, it's PlayStation Plus minus PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Plus Plus. Well, I'm going to be confusingly calling it. So, So what did you migrate to? Did you go full big boy plus plus or just plus?
I went with, if we're going on your scale, I went with plus. So I went with the extra level, basically.
Boo!
Extra.
I went plus plus. I strapped myself in.
I thought you would.
For the full fat experience.
We can talk about the differences in our experiences.
Yeah. So you went for plus. So what made you go then for plus rather I'll use their names because clearly I'm making things confusing. For the middle one. Made you go for the middle one?
Top, middle, or bottom?
Top, middle, or bottom. All right. You went for the middle one.
I went for middle.
Which I'm calling plus and you're calling
extra.
Extra,
that's
right. I'm really glad we're making this completely sensible system much more accessible and easy to understand for you listeners. All right.
So, I went with extra, which is the middle one. So, that gets me not above the essential. I get everything that's in the essential. And I get the addition of access to a library of games. So, it's a random list of things, and I checked it out and I was like, right, okay, what's on the PS5 that I want to play that I haven't played that this will give me access to, or the other level will give me access to? And there are a few retro games, but like most of them that I care about, I own. So yeah. And the other things I was like, I will play that for 5 minutes. It would have been an enjoyable stroll down memory lane for 5 minutes, and then I won't play it again, never again. So there's a lot of things in the full premium level that I was like, I can probably live without that. Also, the fact that the upgrade price, and I've only got 3 months left of my current deal. I think it runs out in October. So it was an upgrade of £11.46 for the extra one. I was like, well, that's fine. I'll try that for now, and I'll see how that gets on for 3 months. And then I'll make the decision whether I drop down to Essential or carry on as I am, or upgrade to the next one, depending on what content's available on all three, basically.
So, I mean, because I've only annoyingly just had to renew. So I think for plus or premium or top, any one of those naming schemes is acceptable.
We're calling it Top Premium Plus.
Top Premium. It's like flipping iPhone Plus names. I got PlayStation Plus XL Pro Max is what I got.
I got Middle Extra Plus Plus.
Is what you got. So on XS Pro Max PS Plus, I think it was like another 4. It was basically the same again.
Yeah.
But what was interesting, there seems to be, if you're willing to pay for the whole year, as with many of these things, there's quite an economy of scale to be made. I think if you would pay for the whole year in advance, I think it was £100 for XS Pro Max Premium Plus, whereas I think the other one was like £90.
Pro.
So for the extra tenner, having like the historical back catalogue, to me, I was all right. Well, look, I'm in for a penny, in for a pound. I thought I'd give it a go, and even if I only straight up, I downloaded or started downloading Returnal, the PS5 remake of Demon's Souls, and Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And
right,
look,
so
even
there
if
are
that's
3 games. Yeah, there are 3 games that I've added, but I got access to at my level, so that was okay. Also, South Park's.
But you're gonna have people like me looking down their nose and going, "Oh look, he's only got extra plus, not XS Pro Max plus EP edition."
But as I said, that's why I thought Extra Level was a good value for money proposition. It had all those games that I haven't played. It's also got access to Red Dead Redemption 2, which I never picked up. So that's another one that I might add to the mix. And a few of the more recent Ubisoft games that I haven't played that can always be a good one to fall back on, despite the fact that does mean, a good 50 gig download here or there. But that was the other thing. For the premium level, you get access to streaming, and I haven't been that impressed with what I've seen from PS Now, so unless I'm told otherwise, I can wait. Also, slightly factored into the equation, I thought I'll try it for 3 months as it's only like £11.50. That's an easy forget. And then if I do want to, going into the winter months, I'm more likely to be playing more video games at that point, possibly, and I've got 2 weeks off at Christmas generally, so that's more likely to give me more time to be able to get to play some of the old stuff, and by then they might have a bigger library, so it might be a different value proposition for me as well, basically.
I think like with Game Pass, I think we don't really yet know how good a value for money it's going to end up being a year from now. So it's quite difficult to tell. There are some odd omissions, I have to say. I'm surprised, bearing in mind the recent deal with Bungie, that there's no whiff of Destiny 2 and its expansions. I think that's actually a bit of a fail from them. I mean, not that I need an excuse to buy that game for the 15th time. But, I was a little surprised by that. And I still think that they've pulled their punches a little too much by not going day one with first-party titles. And I think, when I was speaking to Kev about this the other day, just when we were catching up, I think that's what both of us felt, that like this it doesn't feel like they're fully committed in some ways.
It feels like a response, basically. Yeah,
it feels like a response. I don't think they're necessarily ready to take the risk on cannibalizing day one game sales for a more consistent revenue stream over a longer period of time. I just think perhaps their business model's not yet. But look, I'm excited to give it a go. I mean, some of the classics in there look quite a laugh. I mean, there are going to be some where it's like, wow, Tekken 2 looks like butts when you replay it. But what's quite funny is like a lot of the classics just show you how ridiculous the naming conventions were a couple of years ago of remaking everything. So a classic includes things with the words HD remaster in them. So that strikes me as particularly ridiculous. But there are some old games out there I think are going to be really fun, and certainly some of the stuff that was only on perhaps PSP or PS. I don't think there's PS Vita on there yet. No sign of that yet. But there's some really nice remakes, like the Gravity Rush remake for the PS4 of that Vita game. Gravity Rush is a great hidden gem on the Vita, and stuff like that. If you have gone for PlayStation Plus XS Super Pro Max Pro, then that's well worth checking out.
The games I'm jealous of that I didn't get access to that I would have liked to play around with, Siphon Filter just for the old school, but From what I've seen of people playing that game does not hold up well. Like early, 3D kind of blocky texture things, I just don't think look great. And yeah, I'd like to play them, but I can live without playing them. Split Second was the one that I was like, I'm going to get access to that.
Split Second!
Yeah, I reckon that
I forgot how good that game was.
I reckon that probably holds up pretty well as well, in terms of a good arcade racer. So that's one that I will look forward to getting access to if I do upgrade in the future. Or may just buy somewhere now that I've remembered about that game, but...
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite looking forward to getting stuck into actually some of the stuff that's a bit off the beaten track from a console gaming point of view. Like, I quite happily just get stuck into some of the Sam and Max stuff that's on the Classics catalogue.
Okay.
There's some good times to be had there, to be quite honest with you.
I'm not sure Ape Escape's worth going back for.
There's Heavy Rain.
There is Heavy Rain. Oh, I didn't see that on there. Okay.
And there's a game which could be a very different game depending on where you place the colon here. High Stakes on the Vegas Strip Poker Edition.
Right. Oh.
So depending where you place the colon in that sentence, it could be a very exciting game or one that's quite tedious. I've got a feeling it's the latter. But yeah, there's a bunch of old Hot Shots golf games. Hotline Miami's on there.
It didn't say which Hot Shot golf. Is it the PS4 version, I think, yeah?
Both PS4 and PS5 are on there.
Okay.
World Invitational, Out of Bounds. So, and all of your historic God of Wars. So yeah, I think
historic versions.
The historic versions.
Historically accurate versions, yeah.
Yeah, they are complete. Enough of your jibber jabber, Tim. Christ's sake. Trying to besmirch, trying to imply that someone like Socrates or some other classical writer actually had more of or Homer had more of a grasp on Greek mythology than the people of Santa Monica Studios. Damn you, Tim. Damn you. Wash that mouth out with soap and water. But, I think, to be honest, I think a lot of people are going to pull the trigger on this. I don't yet know whether or not the premium is worth, the premium.
Well, you'll be able to tell us now, Dan.
I will be able to tell you as things go forward. But, I mean, a bit of me begrudgingly does actually appreciate the fact that at least they kept the essential tier as it was. At least they didn't do any sneaky try and decommission that, which some people may have been expecting. I wouldn't be surprised if that gets shuttered or the price point changes to make it a bit nearer extra, so people think, well, if I'm in for a penny, again, in for a penny, in for a pound. Because at the moment, if you pay for a year in advance, essential is 50 quid as it always was. Extra is $83.99 and premium is $99.99.
Oh yeah, and on that note, though, I hope that I'd be interested to see what happens going forward with the monthly games on the essential level, because that was a bit ropey last month, especially if you were planning on upgrading. They gave away God of War as the only decent game that was there. Because that Nickelodeon Brawl thing, I tried that out with friend of the show, Ed, and we got halfway through a match
that game
and literally deleted it. I'm like, we are never speaking of this again, which I obviously am breaking now.
Yeah.
But that game is terrible. Yeah. Multiverses, on the other hand, it gave me more faith that Multiverses is a good version of that game, because that was not. Anyway.
Yeah. And I stick to my my review of the game trials as just do day one, mate. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean, you don't even get a discount, do you, I think, for if you do a game trial?
Depends, because there are exclusive discounts for
You're
levels,
right.
and it doesn't say if you get better discounts, the better level you're signed up to. It didn't really make that clear, but it seems to say there were exclusive discounts. And there are a
selection of games on.
Yes.
So like Horizon Forbidden West.
Yep.
Tiny Tina, Cyberpunk 2077,
Yep.
Ollie World for some reason.
Yeah.
WWE, Hot Wheels Unleashed, because of course, and Farming Simulator 2022.
Okay. Yeah.
Just
random.
in case you're not sure how your father is.
Yeah, it seems to be fairly random as to what level you get access to those things generally as well. I mean, I seem to get access to all the Ubisoft stuff, but I don't know if that's definitely a one-to-one. But yeah.
Well, again, I think Ubisoft trying to fire a shot across the bows with EA, isn't it? With kind of how EA plays all tied up in or was tied up in Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I'm quite. But I think look, there's a bunch of stuff that I kind of passed me by towards the end of the PS4's life cycle that has received a nice bit of a bit of an up-res on the PS5. I'm quite looking forward to being able to enjoy game streaming on a web browser if I'm at the PC and my PlayStation's not on. That would be quite good fun. But hey, look, it's going to be. I think it's got a while to go. It's gonna take a little bit of maturing the service, but look, I'm hoping it's going to grow to be something quite awesome. And once I had a look at it, it made me remember actually what a great back catalogue they've got from the PS4 days. So look, you'll probably get your money's worth if you want to get stuck into the offering. So yeah. We'll keep you posted. Yet another subscription. Everything's a bloody subscription at the moment. Seriously.
Yep.
There we go. So that is what we have done played. So Tim, you lucky thing. Because I think there's a bit of news for you to get stuck into. If only I can find the correct thing on the dashboard. It's basically news with Tim Basically Hibbs.
Why is this basically news and not just news?
Well, because you're involved. I just wanted to play that. I'm going to press the button on the soundboard. I don't often get to press the button.
I still can't hear the buttons.
So Tim,
but anyway,
you can't hear the buttons. Why can't you hear the buttons?
I don't know. You've done something audio wrong for me, at least. Hopefully, it will work for the audience and we'll be fine. If not, you'll sound silly at least.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I will. So anyway, Tim, the news. Yes. Activision Blizzard has cleared itself of wrongdoing.
This is definitely some news. Activision Blizzard internal committee clears itself of wrongdoing, and no one saw that coming.
Right.
They've also said definitely don't investigate Bobby Kotick. Don't do that. We don't advise doing that. That's
and in
exactly
news,
what you
Donald
say
Trump,
when there's nothing guilty to find.
And on that note, Donald Trump considers himself a neat guy.
Yep, neat guy. With a very good memory. He can remember man, woman, chair, and all the other words that he had to remember.
Wow. I mean, those are a lot. They're very complicated words. Some of them have 3 syllables.
Did well, yeah.
He did very well. So this was all. So my recollection of this was that this all kicked off quite rightly after a complaint from the state of California, which had done a long investigation, saying that basically the company has knowingly disregarded evidence of, some pretty shocking mistreatments of strong way of putting it, but I think it's fair, mistreatment of people from certain sociocultural backgrounds within the company.
Okay.
So, right, you need to look at this.
Dan, I've been accused of being a terrible podcaster, but fortunately, I've done an investigation on myself, and it's proven to be, I'm terrible.
Right.
Absolutely useless.
Yeah, you've done an investigation of yourself. Yeah. Did you wash your hands afterwards?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
How far up did you go?
I mean, come on. It's got to be a thorough investigation.
Was it veterinary? It was a thorough investigation. You're in there up to the elbow. I mean, that's quite a contortionist trick.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I mean, I cannot actually believe that they were able to
say this with a straight face.
Get away with this. and yeah, exactly. I mean, this just on no way. I mean, so the long and short of it is, so the statement is that the board. So this is in an SEC filing. Activision Blizzard asserted that the board and its external advisors have determined that there is no evidence to suggest that Activision Blizzard senior executives ever intentionally ignored or attempted to downplay the instances of gender harassment that occurred and were reported.
So you were asleep at the wheel then?
Yep, exactly. That work is also not on any evidence, directly or indirectly, suggesting any attempt by any senior executive or employee to conceal information from the board. I mean, I think the thing that makes me laugh on this is that Activision Blizzard's committee response specifically focused on harassment that occurred and was reported as defined by the company. So basically, nothing that we decided was bad news based on what we know. happened, so we're fine.
Basically, you either don't deserve your overpriced salaries because you were asleep at the wheel and not paying attention to massive problems within your own company, or you did exactly the thing that you're claiming that you didn't do, and no one really cares that you had an internal investigation that discovered that you didn't do that, because we all predicted that you were going to say that. Now investigate Bobby Kotick and tell us what's wrong with him.
I mean, I'm sure people would like to give that there would be a queue round the block if it was offered that people to give Bobby Kotick a thorough internal investigation. I'm sure people would quite merrily make sure that was appropriately conducted if need be. But I mean, a bit of me almost kind of wonders how this is going to jive with the upcoming Microsoft deal, which increasingly looks like it's going to happen. I know in principle it's been agreed to, but there's obviously legal stuff to go through first. I mean, a bit of me almost wonders, is this just so beyond the pale? Is this just so balls out ridiculous? Is this actually a conscious effort by the board of Activision Blizzard to make themselves seem so toxic that they're not going to be bought out by Microsoft?
No, because I think they want to be bought out by Microsoft. I don't think they want to do something to harm that. I think this is their attempt to do what they can. And in the corporate world, this is probably, acceptable bit of behavior and a thing that they can point to in court later and go, well, look, we had these external people come and advise us, and they advised us that we didn't do anything wrong. So how could we have done anything wrong?
I work for a large corporation.
Right.
I work for a large multinational corporation.
Yes.
This would never happen.
Okay, sorry. I missed the word evil out of my description. Evil multinational corporation. You don't work for an evil one, Dan. You work for one of the good guys.
Again, it's a kind of we jokingly said, you investigating yourself. I mean, surely...
Stop investigating yourself,
surely. Dan. I mean, just how could you sleep at night? Just
they
going...
don't. They don't. They sleep during the day because they're vampires, Dan. They are vampires.
Oh, sorry.
Vampires.
Sorry, Tim.
Day.
I forgot.
Established.
You are absolutely right. You're absolutely right. and it's far easier to sneak up on the children to mince them up into burgers at night when they're asleep as well. Let's not face that. Let's not forget that.
Legally speaking, we are not accusing Bobby Kotick of eating children just in burgers. Just putting that out there. Just for
no. All right, I'm sorry. Me saying it's in burgers.
They need some money at the moment. Let's not give them
conjecture.
a reason, Dan. Okay.
All right. Okay. Fair enough. All right. So I've done an investigation. There's no evidence.
I'm not
to
saying
suggest
he didn't.
Bobby Kotick.
That's not saying we have any evidence that he did.
There's no evidence to support the supposition that Bobby Kotick minces children up and eats them in burgers.
No evidence to support that.
No evidence to suggest that is the case.
No idea.
No evidence to suggest that's the case. The burden of proof, sadly, was on us, and we couldn't provide that burden of proof.
Burger of proof.
So, burger of proof. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know. Perhaps this just makes me very sad with just the human race generally, that they can, with a straight face. They're going to get away with this shit, Dan.
They're going to get away with riding off into the sunset with big bags of money.
I mean, just come on. Come on.
That's how capitalism works, Dan.
Well, I mean, but kind of on that. I mean, capitalism. I agree, does incentivize certain types of behaviours which aren't,
and
I
this
think,
is the
necessarily morally
the top
right.
of the food chain of that production line.
I would like to think that the Xbox gaming division, under leadership of Phil Spencer,
can right this ship.
wouldn't be as cynical and would take tougher action about this. And I hope that this doesn't mean that a bunch of people within Activision Blizzard are going to get a free pass to continue this or get off scot-free for the behaviour during their tenure at Activision Blizzard prior to it being taken over by Microsoft. I hate to break it to you, Dan.
They're not going to get off scot-free. They're going to get off £billion richer and scot-free.
God damn it.
So, that's the problem with those sorts of things. But hey, let's move on to better things, Dan. Let's move on to a better place.
To better things indeed. Destiny 2! I like talking about Destiny 2.
You do?
I do. I loved it. So, this is an interesting one. So, it was a distributor of cheats and cheat engines for Destiny 2. And what's really interesting here is that the company who was putting those things has rolled over in court and has agreed to pay Bungie $13.5 million just to make a current copyright infringement lawsuit go away. So,
how much did they make with their cheats?
Well, quite exact. Probably more than $13.5 million. So they argue, this is Elite Boss Tech, argues they never copied Destiny 2's code. So there was allegations of, I presume, reverse engineering the source code. And that some Bungie's claims were based on unenforceable statements from its limited software license agreement. But just to make it go away, they have paid $13.5 million. And that was
because everyone pays $13.5 million when they're not guilty.
Yeah, and apparently, they've been fined $2,000 each time their software was downloaded, which was downloaded 2,675 times.
Oh.
And also, it's not just them, not just those ne'er-do-wellers, those impingers of fun on good meaning, upstanding guardians of the community. They've Bungie have now turned their heads towards a guy called Nicholas Minor, otherwise known as Lord Nazo. Because, hey, when your name's Nicholas, why not have a stupid name? Lord Nazo, who was frankly a bit of a bellend and issued a bunch of fake DMCA takedowns against Destiny 2 YouTubers back in March and absolutely buggered up their revenue stream and led to a bit of a major falling out between those YouTubers and what they assumed to be a Bungie employee going rogue. So if Bungo managed to sue the pants off this chap, Lord Nazo, he could be up for face a bit of damages of up to $7.6 million. So, moral of this story, don't be a knobhead. Cheaters never prosper.
On that previous one with the cheats and the 13.5 million, I wouldn't be at all surprised if they can afford to pay to have that go away. I wouldn't be at all surprised that Bungie finds another reason to sue them because they want them out of business, not.
Well, I don't.
Crippled.
I mean, I don't know whether or not that. I mean, they've paid to settle. Basically, they've essentially paid to settle. So probably as part of that, there is all right. No more coming after us money. We put our hands up.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if that they find a way around that and end up suing them again. But hey.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, and the only other item in the news, just before we run out of time, I mean, well, there's two other bits. One of which I think is just ridiculous in its ridiculousness. There's a 25th anniversary of Final Fantasy VII, which they are, Squeenix, celebrating by remaking Final Fantasy VII another 15 different ways, as far as I can work out. So Final Fantasy VII, the gift that keeps on giving, the chocobo that keeps on laying.
Rebirth. That did look graphically very impressive, though, I have to say.
It did.
The stuff that they showed off about that did look good.
So this is Rebirth. Is this the second half then of...
It's the second
redo
third,
of
I believe.
It's the second
That's
third.
The other thing
so we've left Midgard.
I didn't get to the end of the last one yet, so couldn't necessarily confirm that, but I believe that to be correct.
So the first one was Remake. This is Rebirth. What is the last one going to be called?
Revengeance.
Rewind. The crowd says Bo Selector, I do believe, is what they're going to call it.
Yeah.
Is what my bet's on. Because, as I've just demonstrated, I'm cool and street. And I know these things. Yeah, so Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, like Tim said, looking very, 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 very good. Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion is a full remaster of the PSP original, which is a prequel to Final Fantasy VII story, and that's coming to PS5, PS4, all of your Xboxes, Steam, and Nintendo Switch. There's also Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, which is now available on Steam, and that has your Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is the first third, and its side story Inter Capital's Mission. And the super exciting thing about that is that it supports Steam Deck. So I'll be very interested when my Steam Deck does show up, should it ever do so, to see how that performs.
Any updates on that? Do you know when it's coming?
It is coming at some indeterminate point between July and October.
Oh, okay.
I can tell you now. I could do your live update, Tim.
Q3, basically, yeah?
Yeah. All right. If you want to put a number on it, then fine. Yeah, Q3. Be like that. Oh, Steam summer sales on. that's terrible news for my wallet.
That's bad news too.
That is bad news. Yes, but there's also other Final Fantasy VII goodness. There is Final Fantasy VII The First Soldier, Season 3 available now. That's their free-to-play mobile battle royale game set in the world of Final Fantasy VII. And then there's also a closed beta test coming up at some point later on this year of Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, which is an episodic single-player mobile game that's going to allow players to experience the world of Final Fantasy VII and its current connected stories.
Ooh.
Does, not gonna lie, sounds like that could be a bag of wank.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that they're doing a bit to celebrate Final Fantasy VII, though. Like, it makes sense to do that for the 25-year anniversary. That's the one anniversary that I definitely do. 25, we're getting a lot of 30-year ones coming around now, but yeah.
Do you know what I'm upset about, Tim?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you anyway, even if you don't want to hear it.
Okay.
I'm upset that Final Fantasy VI, which is the far superior Final Fantasy game, didn't get this amount of love.
Well, not as many people played it. Not as many people have reverence for it. Yeah.
So totally the better game.
Start an internet campaign to remake Final Fantasy VI.
Oh, yeah, because those always go
Final
well.
Fantasy VII style.
They'll go well. They'll go, that's nice, Dan. That's lovely. Just shut up now. Yeah, exactly. So that's where you find the Fantasy VII goodness. But I suppose the final bit of news is a slightly kind of surprising, but maybe not so surprising one, is that PlayStation will be skipping Gamescom 2022. So there is no Gamescom Eingang for PlayStation this year.
That's a lot of people skipping Gamescom this year.
Yeah. So I think it may. I mean, the problem is it does Gamescom no longer got like the critical mass of publishers that it needs to make a good go of it. And I think that's one of the problems with kind of the hoovering up of studios by bigger organizations is that means en bloc they're not going. So yeah, I mean it's a shame because Gamescom's a good con. I mean it's in a bit of a jam-packed bit of the year, what with kind of Eurogamer as well, just around the corner from that. But hey, it's a shame. But I do think, especially as I mean, COVID is on the increase. I mean, we've got obviously Coleman's on well, but if you look at the way things are going, COVID is making a bit of a comeback, and I do wonder if
don't call it a comeback. I mean,
don't call it a comeback. Don't call it a comeback. Yeah. So yeah, but I wonder if the days of big conventions where everyone's fondling sweaty, sticky controllers is now behind us. I think it may well be.
Might pave the way for lots of smaller events, though, which could be cool.
Might do. It might do. Who knows? I don't.
No.
I don't know these things, Tim. No idea.
This week's podcast is also brought to you by Tabletop Tuesday, our tabletop event where you can win a game just by playing it. We have a different feature game every week usually. At the moment, while we're just getting up and running, that may be slightly less frequent, but we'll have some other prizes to give away on other weeks where we don't have a feature game. But the weeks we do have a feature game, you just come along on a Tuesday to the loading bar in Stoke Newington. You can win yourself a game just by playing it. We bounce around between deep strategic board games one week and silly party games the next. There's a variety of games available to play at the loading bar all the time. We're there on a Tuesday to help you find a group of people to play with and to find some like-minded people that might want to play a game that some of your friends don't, basically. Come along, you can see myself or another host, Chris, that will also be there to help kind of run games and run the event. And there are more details on the top left-hand corner of Big Red Barrel. That's bigredbarrel.com, the website. And also on our meetup group, which has over 2,000 members. You can join the meetup group and get more details there every week. And there's a newsletter and stuff that goes out now as well. So yeah, you can sign up and get more details there. That's the Tabletop Tuesday event every Tuesday at the loading bar in Stoke Newington.
I'll tell you one thing I do know, though. It's time we got near wrapping up. So we're going to do that. We're going to end the show. We realise we have been bad podcasters, and we haven't got your questions for a while, but we will try and do some next week.
It's
so
more
there
fun
is a
when
section on our
Coleman's here
Discord.
as well, so.
Yeah, exactly. Common will feel upset if we answered all these questions.
Yeah.
There is a link in the show notes that will take you to our Discord, but also www.bigredbarrel.com, facebook.com/bigredbarrel. and twitter.com/big red barrel, as well as links to our store, tpublic.com/store/BRB, and also some info about Tabletop Tuesday, which you may well have already heard about or be about to hear of from Tim in a different alternate timeline that may have been last night. So that is pretty much it. I think the only other thing we'd like to do is just shine a bit of a charity spotlight on Geek Out for Gosh once again. Search them on at Geek Out for Gosh on Twitter. They're doing year-round fundraising. There's always a good time to fundraise for charities such as Gosh. So give them a little look. Give them a little look. Get involved, or just spread the word as best you can. I think that was a show. Yeah, it's still an hour long, despite two of us. Oh well. Mind.
It kind of doesn't quite feel the same without Coleman, though.
No, it's not right. It doesn't feel right.
No,
I feel unsupported.
Unbalanced. I feel like
it feels like I've embarked on a game of cricket without the necessary protection. That's right. Coleman is the cricket box
protects
to my
your
trousers.
crotch, basically, is what you're saying.
He does. He'll Mr. President anything that makes a beeline for my crotch. No. Anyway, on that.
Oh, speaking of which.
Exactly. On that terrifying mental image. Oh God, Tim's got my face on his chest.
Yes.
Why have you got my face on your chest?
In a Silence of the Lambs, or in a non-Silence of the Lambs type manner, I'm wearing your face.
Lovely. Please don't wear my face in a Silence of the Lambs manner.
That are only listening to audio, this is one of the t-shirts that you can buy on our store, which includes Dan's face on his famous Games Master appearance. The Fetching Grey.
It wasn't Games Master, it was Games World. Thank you very much.
Sorry, Games World. Sorry, yes.
Thank you.
Misspoke.
Get it right.
It does say Games World on the t-shirt, unfortunately.
Yeah, so you could just read it and get your facts right.
Yeah.
Oh, Timothy. Anyway, that is it. Hopefully we're going to have a Coleman back next week. Hopefully no one else is going to be struck down by COVID. And next week it's 497, so we're only 3 shows away from the big 500.
500.
So look after yourselves, stay well, and all that's really left to say is that I have been Dan.
I might have been Tim.
And Coleman, somewhere out there, is being chaos. That's what he's doing. He loves being chaos.
Hopefully getting chaos.
Even when struck down by COVID, he's still chaos.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you ever so much for listening. And until next time, dear listeners, toodle bye.
Step on it, farewell. We're gonna kick some shell. Speed demons up high. We're gonna make you cry. Step on it, farewell. We're gonna make you yell. Mutant ninjas in the sky. We're gonna kiss your shell goodbye.
You and your ears are quite welcome
For the podcasting goodness that you just heard.
Why not roll on over
To BigRedBarrel.com
for more podcasts?
news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet. BigRedBarrel.com.
First of the things.
Before you do that, Dan, I'd like to interject and say that there was actually another event that we didn't cover. It's called the Amazon Prime Flip-to-Do sale, and I would like to talk about 20 games that I've played.